you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's one of those Yerks.
It popped.
Yeah.
It hit our Yerk. It hit our Yerk inflation system and kind of just ballooned up until it
wasn't that
inspired by Dig Dug.
This is what we have to do now that this is how we have to protect our house. Now that the Yerks have taken over the earth and they can't get in.
Yeah.
The Yerks stole our...
Our podcast is so popular that the Yerks are always trying to get us, specifically.
We're spreading the word about the Animorphs, and they don't like that.
The Yerks stole our orphan blood machine, too. It's not running anymore.
Now, when I was a kid and I read the Animorphs books, I did think that it was real. I wasn't, convinced, but I was like, just in case, I don't want, I am going to be scared anyway, because, it could be real. The books say they're real, so, they're probably real. And, I did wonder, well, wait, if they were real, who's this K.A. Applegate person, and how are they not getting in trouble for, publishing this? But, I was never able to parse out the logic behind that, but I still didn't want to risk it, so I was still really worried and scared, and I did avoid going into, new locations with new people, who I suspected might be Yerks, based on...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, hello, welcome to an Animals Book Club podcast.
I'm Beatrice.
I'm better.
I'm Mustard. I'm Stir.
And this is the reunion.
This is the book where
the title actually makes sense.
Yeah, actually, it does. It makes sense in multiple ways, and not in these stupid horoscope ways that Mustard keeps coming up with, but it makes sense in two ways, actually, that makes sense.
I don't know what two ways you're referring to.
It's the reunion of Marco and Visser One, and the reunion of Visser One and Visser Three.
Okay, why do they need a reunion?
Yeah, what?
Because that's what this book is about. It's about Visser One wanting to meet up with Visser Three.
Sure, I
They're
guess.
Reusing.
It's not really a reunion.
This is a reunion of us, because we haven't recorded in 5 days.
Yeah, 5 whole days, wow.
Yeah. We're sad, we miss each other.
Yeah, I missed you guys.
Okay, summarize the book,
Marco's
I
hair
guess.
doesn't really look like a monkey in this. It's starting to grow out more.
His what? His what?
A monkey?
For some reason, that quote about Marco's hair looking like a monkey...
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Are you mistaking this from when King K. Rool said every monkey's life?
Where Marco cut his hair and it looked like a freaking monkey sat on his head or something.
What?
Maybe that's because you have a small monkey living on the top of your head, Rachel said with a smirk.
Thank you, Mustard.
That's just one quote from book 10.
It stayed with me, okay?
I don't think you even mentioned that in the episode.
I do not remember this ever.
Well,
make a change. ...
Okay,
for the better.
we're talking about the cover right now, if that wasn't clear.
Right.
Marco's turning into a cockroach. His butt looks... He's his pocket turns into the cockroach's butt.
Yeah.
His back pocket.
He looks...
efficient.
He has a funny face.
He looks like he's begging for something. As more and more.
Because his eyes get really big and like cute doe eyes.
Yeah, they're funny.
Yeah.
And he's looking up at the sky and
But in the human form, he's just staring blankly. I wonder what the models for all these Animorphs covers are doing now. Do they ever think about I don't know, did they just model for a million things and they don't even know what Animorphs is?
Maybe. I have nothing else to say about this cover, actually. It's funny looking.
It's fine.
Alright,
Okay.
so we all thumbs up this book except for Stir.
Stir gave it a meh face.
I was kind of expecting Mustard to give it a bit of a nod at... Mustard, didn't you, really dislike book 15 or something?
Yes,
this was kind of
hugely.
What?
Because it felt out of
vaguely.
character.
This was kind of like a sequel to book 15.
Yeah, this was also just a massively improved version of book 15 and book 23, I think. There was kind of a...
23.
It kind of had stuff in common with that book as well.
Book 23 was
The
Tobias
Tobias one.
finding out about Elfangor the whole time.
Anyway, let's do the summary before we get to thoughts. So
Summary
people know
of the
what we're
book.
talking about. You got 5 minutes or something?
I don't know. Chapter 1, Marco has a dream about his mother drowning, which is sad. So then the next day, Marco skips school for no reason and just happens to run into his mom within seconds of skipping school. And he notices that his mom is wearing a disguise, and so he follows her. His mom is Visser One, almost certainly. He follows Visser One into an office building.
What do you mean almost certainly?
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. Okay, anyway, continue.
Yeah, for those of you who don't remember, Marco's mom is the host body of the Yerk Visser One. So Marco follows Visser One / his mother into a building unseen and sees the office that she's about to enter. Once he sees the office within the building, he decides to leave and tell the other Animorphs, but trying to escape, some shenanigans happen, and because of that, he ends up having to morph into this adult guy that he acquired earlier for no reason, who works here, and then he hides the real guy that he morphed in the bathroom and steals his clothes, and then leaves. He goes back to school, the Animorphs all have a meeting, and then Tobias, Ax, and Marco decide to go by themselves to the building at night as cockroaches, because Cassie and the other Animorphs all have other excuses that they can't go because of homework or something. So they end up finding Visser One, in a portable Kandrona pool by herself in the office at night, and Marco's mom, with no yerk in her, is attached at the neck to the pool, and she can't see them. And so the Animorphs observe that Visser One has surveillance on the free Hork-Bajir colony, which is a Hork-Bajir colony that the Animorphs have formed of Hork-Bajir that have escaped the Yerks. Once they see this, Visser 3's soldiers show up, and they try to kill Visser One, and there's a big fight. The Animorphs defend Visser One because they want to find out more about this intelligence that she has. And then Visser One reveals that she's been accused of treason. Therefore, there's an issue to kill her on sight from the other Yerks. So, for now, she's spying on the Hork-Bajir colony in order to prove that Visser 3 is incompetent to the higher-ups, and she discusses with the Animorphs how both parties want Visser 3 dead. So, Visser 1 claims that she can kill Visser 3 for the Animorphs, in exchange for the Animorphs handing over the Hork-Bajir colony. Marco agrees to the deal, and Tobias is very upset, but Marco explains that they won't actually be handing over the Hork-Bajir colony, because they're going to do a whole trick. Marco, Tobias, and Ax quickly fly to Cassie's house. It's still the middle of the night. Wake her up and ask what animal they can use to climb a mountain. Cassie says mountain goats, so they go to acquire mountain goats. It goes fine. They end up the next morning, they meet up with Visser 1, and they get her to expose her location to Chapman, so that Visser 3's soldiers start tracking her. So the Animorphs, pretending to be Andalites, direct Visser 1 through a bunch of instructions to get her to prepare for a hike up the mountain where they're saying that the Hork-Bajir colony is. So eventually Visser 1 ends up driving towards the location that the Animorphs are leading her to, and then the Animorphs say something that tips Visser 1 off that they're actually humans. So then, when Visser 1 gets to the trailhead, Visser 3 is not far behind and is actually closer than the Animorphs were anticipating, so he ends up blowing up the car while Cassie and Jake are still inside. So Marco thinks that Cassie and Jake are dead. So Marco alone follows Visser 1 up the mountain, and Tobias and Rachel assist as Hork-Bajir, pretending to be free Hork-Bajir, leading Visser 1 to the colony. So Rachel doubts Marco's ability as a leader at this point because of Jake and Cassie supposedly being dead. Ax is also missing. Visser 3 has a lot more manpower than expected and is much closer behind than expected. But then Tobias unexpectedly says that he trusts Marco. Then Visser 3 says that his human controllers are going too slow, so he turns into a giant morph and goes on alone to meet up with the Hork-Bajir and Taxons that are arriving separately. So then Marco turns into a goat, goes up the last stretch to meet Visser 1. At the top, Eric the Chi is projecting an image of the Hork-Bajir colony where there isn't one, so that Visser 1 can think there is one. Visser 3 says that she thinks Marco is someone she knew long ago, just from the way that he speaks.
Visser 1 says that.
Yeah, did I say that? Visser 1.
I think you said 3.
Then Visser 1 and 3 reune, and they all start fighting. There's a whole freaking spaceship battle also about to start, because each side has also brought their own spaceships that are fighting. In the heat of the battle, Marco, as a mountain goat, charges at Visser 1, trying to throw her off the cliff, but Jake, who turns out to be alive, and a tiger, jumps over the cliff at the last moment and pins Marco to the ground, while someone else as a bird claws at Visser 1's face, causing her to fall off the cliff while Marco watches, thus saving Marco from being the one to kill his mother.
Well, that's what happened?
And Jake pins Marco down to keep Marco from saving her. Then Jake explains
That's the part I remember. Okay.
Jake explains that the reason that he and Cassie didn't show up for so long was because they saw Visser 3 heading up the mountain at just the right time, and they speed morphed back to Cockroach as soon as they saw the limo. But Cassie was able to morph all the way back to Roach and survive the explosion, but Jake was only half morphed and became unconscious, so Cassie had to stay back and try and wake Jake up, so that's why it took so long for them to show up. So, 2 days later, after the whole incident, Rachel comes by to Marco's house to tell him that she couldn't find any evidence of Visser 1's or Marco's mom's body. So that's the end of the book.
Meaning she may be alive.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking about maying this book just because it ended pretty much the same way as the last Visser One book.
It was funny. I wrote like a day after I wrote this book.
You wrote this book?
Yeah.
Good job.
A day after I wrote this book, like a day after I added my notes. Wait a minute, that was like the exact same ending as book 15.
It was.
But whatever. I don't.
Buppo the clown learned to fly.
But like I said, like I honestly, in my opinion,
Buppo the clown's air rescue mission.
as someone who did not like
aerial rescue mission.
As someone who did not like book 15, and someone who did like book 23, I think this was like an improved version of both those books. Which is surprising because it was ghost-written. I think those two books weren't.
This is the first ghost-written book that I've liked.
Yeah, I really liked it. It honestly felt like more of a Capelgate book than the freaking Megamorphs we just
It honestly did.
Like,
well, okay, Capelgate... Megamorphs felt like a Capelgate book just because of how insane it was and unhinged. Yeah, but like in terms of writing quality.
No, I associate that more with the Ghostwriters because
Ghostwriters so far have been like really reserved.
Ghostwriters have.
Didn't the Ghostwriter write the Slaughterhouse book?
Yeah, that was the one that was weird.
I think is unhinged.
But like the majority of them would have just been like boring in comparison to normal Animals books. I feel like. Well, like Capelgate, like is unhinged in like how she responds to like messages.
Because like the Slaughterhouse book is different than than like book 11.
Yeah.
I think that what you're associating it with is book 11. Book 11 is just stupid.
Which one's 11?
But it's not like trying to preach
Forgotten.
anything.
Yeah, I don't remember 11. Forgotten.
We just read Melvin's Adventure.
The Forgotten's not unhinged to me. No, I don't.
Alligator book.
I don't think Capelgate's writing is necessarily unhinged, but she's definitely an unhinged author in how she like responds to messages from kids going like, "Hey, is my brother a Yerk?" Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like she'll just do that to mess with kids.
No, like I don't think a ghostwriter would write book Megamorphs 3 just because they wouldn't take that risk.
Capelgate wouldn't write fan fiction about her characters like murdering racists.
Yeah, she
did.
That's what I've come to accept about this series, and it's disappointed me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you like this book more than 15 or less?
Less.
Really? Okay.
I loved this book.
I thought Marco was in character for both of them.
I was or wasn't?
Was.
Yeah. I kind of like seeing angry Marco more.
This was great. Like, this was like, holy crap. The ghostwriter did their homework this time, and
they did.
They like know like everything that led up. It's like they read all the books almost, or maybe they didn't read the ghostwritten books, but they wrote and they like know what, and they managed to like make Marco be. I guess I don't want to say out of character, but they managed to make him like not be his normal self, but in a way that was completely believable. And they basically like didn't revert back to like silly Marco for the entire book, and yet it still felt believable. Like that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So friendship ended with K.A. Applegate. Elise Garox is my new best friend.
Yeah,
I think that's her name.
Yeah, this was even better than what was the last ghostwritten book? That's pretty good. Like I think this was better than that one.
29. Oh, this was way better than 29. 29 was like just like passable. Basically.
What was that one? Which one was that?
Elise Donner is the ghostwriter for this one. What is your question?
What happened in the last ghostwritten book that was like good?
Cassie saves Aftran.
Okay.
Honestly, that book was only good. Honestly, mostly because of the plot happening.
Yeah,
like good story.
No, this one
idea.
had like really like.
This one was like
there were some passages
the author
about like
cared about what was happening.
Like Marco was like internal dialogue about like talking to people and like pity. Like that was really well done in this book.
Marco
and we'll
was
get
so
to
well
that
written.
details about that, I guess. And like
I do not remember. I was not expecting to love this book at all because I did not remember like anything about this book coming in. Like, I was looking at this cover and I was like, no idea what this is happening. Like, for the first third of the book, I was like, no idea where this is going because I don't remember it. Honestly, the first third of this book, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. This is not going to be good. Because, like, the very first chapter is, like, Marco, like, oh, my mom. Oh, hey, there's my mom on the street over there. Like, it's way too convenient. But then it, like, ended up being good.
Yeah. And I will say, I know you mostly associate my dislike of book 15 with, like, the ending and, like, the mom stuff that I didn't understand the motivations for. But like
no, it's more just I more associate it with you just thinking Marco is out of character because he's not acting like you would in that situation.
Oh yeah, book 15 is the book we had like a 5-hour argument about.
And he's like too angry for you.
I've grown to appreciate that more with discussion.
His emotional state, not really what he does.
But
what he does at the end is stupid. I'll kind of agree.
Yeah, and I was like so confused. I was like, why would he do that? Even if he's like,
wait, at the end of this book or
no, the other book. I think this book made perfect sense.
What did he do at the end?
But now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's probably why you like this one more because it seems less, stupid.
But also, Book 15 had really boring scenes that I hated. The whole shark stuff, I hated that whole scene. This had nothing like that. Like this book was like better in every way.
This book's like pacing was phenomenal. Like after the first third and they got into the main action, like there was like 2/3 of the book was just this one mission, like moment to moment, like, and it like never let up, and like it never like got boring. Just like watching Visser One walk up a mountain.
Riveted.
Like if book 15 didn't have the whole like shark scenes, I would probably change my vote to a thumbs up. But like the fact that there was that,
I liked Marco turning into a shark in the pool. That was cool.
Oh yeah, that's like cool. Honestly the only scene I remember from book 15.
No, by shark scene I mean when they're all morphing sharks and they're like, oh, why can't we go in? Oh, and they get like brain implants. I don't even remember it. Like I read that book like 3 times.
Honestly, the shark scene where the sharks are getting brain implants is like the exact same thing as the slaughterhouse scene from book 30 to me, or whatever that book was.
It is like that.
But anyway, let's talk about this book instead.
Stuart, why'd you give this book a meg? We just gushed about it.
I don't know.
None of us call it Meg. So.
One thing I liked about this book is I noticed I tend to really like Animorphs books where like the I don't know what the word is. The structure is like different than some other Animorphs books, where we didn't meet like another one of the Animorphs until like chapter 6, I think. Where like it was just solo Marco for like the first 6 chapters, and that was like interesting to me, like him like going on a little adventure, not. Oh, hey, I'm at school. Time to have a meeting.
It was just one stupid one-off thing at the beginning.
Yeah, it was like a whole...
he didn't have like an unrelated thing. When's the last time we had one of those?
It's been a while.
A while. The first...
I'm glad. Yeah. I didn't like those.
And that's what reminded me of book 23, because book 23 is a lot of like solo Tobias, and I thought that was cool. But this solo Marco adventure was like way better written, I think. I liked 23 a lot. I know you guys didn't like it, but... Yeah, it was a good book. Like not like one of my favorites, but like really good.
Definitely
well-written.
One of my favorites. Like maybe my favorite since book 19. I must say.
Maybe I'd have to. I think I like the wasn't the one where they.
Natural did write A Sparkling Heart.
Wasn't that one where
I was just shocked by how good this book was, because I was not remembering anything about it, and all of the Ghost Written books have been like so like meh so far. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't expecting.
Like, I feel like I didn't even only like this book because of how it progressed, like, the plot, Like, outside of that, it was, like, well done.
Oh, well, yeah, if it was only because of how it progressed the plot, I would have liked book 29 more, but...
Yeah, because 29 I liked, but mostly because of how it progressed the plot, you know?
The plot is basically what keeps me back from liking this one as much as you did, Be Natural. That's why I like 29 more.
I think the plot is great, but, like, the way it's written is, like, what puts it over the top a lot.
I don't really have any issues with the way 29 was written.
It was just boring. It was just not. It just didn't have that much to it. I mean, like the author did a good job, like writing a few character interactions, like I pointed out in that episode. But like other than that, it just didn't really have that much. This had like layers to it. This had like writing a character in a new way that he hadn't been written before, but was still believable. Like that's impressive. This had like a different pacing than other Animorphs books have had.
Oh, speaking of the intro, something kind of interesting I noticed, because I brought this up like a few episodes ago, and everyone was like, oh, that's obvious, is that every book starts with, my name is Jake or whatever.
Yeah, this one doesn't have that.
This one doesn't, and neither did Alternamorphs, which, I mean, that's not too surprising, but like, this one didn't, which is odd, because I think it's actually the only book with like a few exceptions that doesn't. Definitely the only like the normal book. Like this one didn't have a prologue or like a new character introduced. It just started off with like, it was happening again. Unbelievably, it was happening again. Mm-hmm. Like that's like totally different. Like it's. I think it's funny that like as soon as I brought that up, then it suddenly started not having that pattern in the books.
So it seems like you guys didn't seem to like the dream sequence here.
Oh, I just don't have any notes on it. It was fine.
I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah, I had no notes on it. I was just like, okay, yeah, this book's going to be about... I see that, I'm like, okay, this book's going to be about Marco's mom, that's cool. I had no positive or negative feelings about it, really.
I love how the Alternamorphs book that we just read was like, we can't let Visser 3 kill Visser One this book. Let's kill Visser One.
Well, that was in the past.
I was kind of wondering if the whole thing about Visser One's body being spectacular was going to come up. It did not. And I'm grateful for that.
This still don't know what they mean by that. Extraordinary abilities.
Extraordinary host.
I picture Visser One. I picture Marco's mom.
Because she knows how to sail and can climb pretty well.
Whoa, it's extraordinary.
Well, she can like die almost and survive from like Buppo the Clown saving her. That's probably it. She's good friends with Buppo the Clown.
Buppo the Clown is her stand.
Oh.
It only activates when she's about to die.
That'd be a pretty cool stand ability.
Yeah.
Like, it literally doesn't do anything except prevent you from dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you say? Buppo the Clown's aerial rescue mission?
Yeah. You should call it that, because literally this book was just that other book again.
It really is just like...
But what better written?
Okay,
More interesting.
I think it's really funny to name the episodes the same thing, but I'm so worried people are going to see that and be like, oh, I've listened to that episode already.
Yeah, I don't know.
It.
We'll see what happens.
Like, so many of episodes, like, and we have all the Jake dancing ones.
Well, those are great, though.
Maybe this should be like a different... That's not going to help if it's a different
Listen,
clown.
do you really think that it's going to be a big deal?
No, I don't. I'm just worried that there's going to be one person out there who's like...
Which is 1/5 of our audience.
Yeah, exactly. Who's like, oh, I listened to that episode already. I don't need to listen to that. Like, you know, that's all. But, you know, if it's funny, I do like... Anyway, let's talk about this book. Okay, in order, I guess. Oh, yeah, talk about the dream sequence if you have anything to say about it.
No, I just liked it.
I do like the book beginning with it was happening again. Unbelievably, it was happening again. Like, Marco's having a dream, and in his dream, he's like...
His mom is drowning, and he's like a few feet away from her, and he like rescues her, but then all of a sudden, a powerful current swept her out of my grasp and sucked her into the glittering surface of the midnight ocean, and she drowns.
Now, I haven't lost a mom to drowning, but I mean, if I did, this seems like reasonable as a recurring dream to have. It seems like makes sense.
And that's basically what happens in the book, so
yeah.
I like that it's like a half-page microcosm.
Have you guys heard the phrase, the salad
Wait, it was happening again. That's like this book. This book is like...
Is book 15 happening again?
Yeah.
Only the ending.
Well, I mean, I think that's intentional. I think it's like my mom just keeps disappearing from me. Like, the series begins with Marco not knowing if his mom is dead or not, but like, you know, he thinks she is. Book 15, she's probably dead, but she could have been alive. This book, same thing. I think it's intentional.
Hey, Rachel points out at the end,
every 15
knowing
books.
That she's dead would be better at this point than not.
That's
because he's just been strung along for so long.
See, if
Marco.
If the book had ended with Marco being like, "Oh, thank God, maybe she's still alive," like that would have been very cheap. But him saying like, "It probably would be better if she was dead now," like so I can just end this and get closure. Like there were parts of this book that were like, "Holy crap!" Like I can't believe they wrote that. Like when he was like talking about. I mean, I know we're getting out of order here, but like when he was talking about like killing his mom. And then he was, like, talking to himself, like, Mom, you don't understand, I had to do it. Dad, well, you already grieved, Dad. You already laid out the flowers at the grave. You already moved on. Like, Dad, I had to. Like, holy crap. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find the exact quote.
Yeah, that's a great passage.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, one thing I liked about this book more than 15 is, like, in this book, Marco was contemplating killing his mom and stuff. You know, the other one, I was like... The other one, he was...
60 pages of Marco contemplating how to kill his mom. It's great.
Well, yeah, and the other one is, like, him contemplating... seeing his mom, I guess? Like, it was just weird, you know?
Him just having, mixed feelings about it.
Okay, hang on. I have a question about the ending of this book. So, am I wrong, or now does Visser One know that Marco is an animorph?
Yeah, she knows that Marco is an animorph, and that at least he's a human.
And that several of them are humans.
Yeah, she knows that some of them are
So something that's interesting about this book, and that I like about the ending
I was not expecting that to be in this book. I was like, that's this book? Like, yeah, because the cover of this book just does not, like, alert me to what's in the book. So, like, I just did not remember that it was this book or that it was this early in the series.
I do like I find that even though the ending is the same, it is more compelling because, like, whether or not she's dead, there's positives and negatives to it. Like, if she's alive, that information's out there, but she probably wouldn't tell anyone because she doesn't want to. She is at this point. She's an enemy to all the other Yeerks.
That's the thing too. I can definitely see like the human thing not coming up again, just because Visser One can't. You're right. She's an enemy to the Yeerks now.
She's already helped the Animorphs just to fight Visser 3 before.
Yeah, but if
she becomes an ally, that would be sick. But I don't see that happening.
There's a lot of places
going back to how they were right before this book.
Dude, I'm excited for Visser.
So yeah, but it's a compelling ending because I don't know what's gonna go. Like if she's dead, honestly, that probably wouldn't be that bad. If she's alive, that also would be cool because maybe she would get saved eventually. But also, like Visser One knows these secrets. You know, like there's so much like possibilities. Well, the last one there was also kind of that. Well, there's positives and negatives to it, but this one there was more. It is just weird that it's the exact same ending. Oh, maybe she's dead. Oh wait, maybe she's not.
I forgive it.
Like it's written like the exact same way. Where Rachel tells Marco, "Oh hey, Rachel, Marco, I think she might be alive." Like in the exact same way. It's odd, but
there was like
it didn't bother me that much.
Like Mark, as soon as she finds out that they're humans, Marco's like, "Okay, now it's not just like, oh, am I up to doing it? Now she has to die. She dies, you know." Like, because she knows. Mm-hmm. Okay, I found the quote. Ever have one of those nights where you're exhausted, where you'd pay anything just to fall asleep, but the wheels in your head just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning? Imagined conversations. Me talking, explaining, arguing, changing the words around, repeating them, rehashing them, around and around in circles. Me talking to Jake, an imaginary Jake, explaining with perfect logic. Me talking to my dad in some fictional future, some non-existent world where things were different, and I could at last tell all the secrets I'd guarded with my life. Me talking to my mom, raging, explaining. Me explaining to my mom, as my real mom, why I had to do it. Me explaining to my mom as Visser One, laughing, chortling, savoring my victory over her. This is how I defeated you, I crowed. This is how I saved you, I explained. No choice, no choice. I had to do it, Dad, you understand? What else was I going to do? Too much on the line. I had responsibilities. You know how that is, right? And besides, she was already dead to you. You'd already grieved, remember? You spent years just sitting in your chair, staring blankly, your life falling apart. See, Jake? Don't ever doubt me again, okay? I did it. I put the mission first. I saw the big picture, so don't ever doubt me again because I did what I had to be done. Mom, what was I supposed to do? I saw all the plays. I saw all the pieces on the chessboard. There was no solution that freed you. There were only solutions that destroyed you. I had to. How else? How else to? Die, you bureauc piece of crap. Wither and die and remember with your last dying thought, it was for her. I killed you for her. For Jake, for my dad.
Yeah.
So. I like how in this book, I think more than any of the previous Animorphs books, like one of the Animorphs other than Jake kind of took the role of Jake in terms of like, Marco's the one making these decisions. Like that was interesting.
I like how they managed to keep raising the stakes at the end. Mm-hmm. And it didn't feel cheap. Even though I knew that Cassie and Jake weren't going to actually be dead.
Yeah.
Although I felt like it felt more possible that they would actually be dead than other times when they've like teased at other characters being dead. Just because like this book already had proved that it was willing to upset the status quo with Visser One like finding out about them being humans. And like this book feeling more serious and like him not taking as much time to grieve over them. Making more sense because they were already stressed in trying to do stuff.
Yeah, although I have to say that the grieving part kind of felt like a rehash of what happened in Megamorphs, and they're grieving over Jake because it was Jake, you know. But I did like seeing Marco in a leadership role.
Yeah, although wasn't Tobias supposed to be the leader of this mission, but then like Marco was kind of like he had all these plans.
Tobias had the final word, but then Marco came up with his excellent plan, and then everyone kind of just like went along with it.
And didn't really say what it was.
That was a little bit unrealistic, but whatever.
But yeah, it was cool because like Marco is never really in a decision making role in these books. I feel like, and really no one is except Jake most of the time. And well, like book 11 was a lot about Jake. Like, was it 11? Yeah, it was like about Jake like worrying about making the wrong decisions, and in this book. Marco was very like, this is the right decision a lot of the time, but also having doubts. Like,
I loved how hyper-focused
he was. Things went wrong. I really like that. He was so sure about his clear, straight line. And then, like, tiny, like, incrementally things kind of began to crumble down until he was really, like, at wit's end.
Yeah, there was so much good writing in this book.
Well, there was a part where he said, like, I'm sure that Visser One was as sure of her plan as I was about mine. The only problem was one of us had to be wrong. Mm-hmm. And he was wrong, although she was also wrong, I guess.
In chapter 1, he mentions that before I lost my mom to the enemy, I used to worry about other things. Mostly I worried about things like whether I dropped enough hints at dinner about which Sega disc I wanted for my birthday.
Oh, yeah, Marco
so the return of Sega.
So, wait, which Sega consoles have discs?
Not which Sega game,
Troll.
but the Sega disc.
Sega disc system. Right? Wasn't that a thing back then?
There's the Sega CD and there's the...
Did Marco have a Sega CD back then, do you think?
Okay, hold on. What disc systems are out then? There's the Sega CD from the early 90s.
Or maybe he means like Sega CD is like a disc.
Or it could be
99?
99, yeah.
99? He could be playing Crash Team Racing.
He might have a Dreamcast.
Marco, what are you doing? You could have a PlayStation playing Crash Team Racing. Marco, my man.
Sega. Marco, see into the future and realize that Sonic loses the war.
Man, last time you talked about Marco having Sega in the series, you weren't like a Crash Bandicoot stan.
It's true.
Times have changed.
In the first book, they mentioned the sleaze troll.
Sonic Sleaze Troll.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, have you guys heard the phrase "the salad days"?
No.
No.
Okay. Because I like that this was just a strange little sec, because he's talking about like, oh, back in the good old days before mom was dead and stuff. And he says, oh, those were the days, or his dad says, the salad days. I'm not sure what that means exactly, salad days, but he says it a lot. I'm not a big fan of salad myself.
I wonder if this is something like
Unless
Elie's
it's heavily
daughter, the
croutons.
ghostwriter Elie's daughter's dad said or something. And she's
Well,
put
yeah.
that
The
in
use
there.
of the word crouton.
Because, like, why would you put that in there?
For me, it was just like a strange like thing for the ghostwriter. I was like, it was just an odd
Yeah,
lore.
it seems like an anamorphism.
Although according to Wikipedia, it is a thing. It's a Shakespearean idiom.
Salad day?
Yeah,
Oh, salad
salad days,
days.
referring to a
The
period of
Animorphs-
carefree innocence.
Animorphs love using salad comparisons because Hork-Bajir are salad
Salad
shooters.
shooters.
Yeah.
We haven't heard that. They haven't used that in a long time, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because now they seem more dino-y than weapon-y.
You're right. Yeah,
they said they have tyrannosaur feet. No.
they've kind of become less spiky and more dinosaur-y.
I wonder if it's because they're like friends now. They try to see them as like
Oh,
creatures.
maybe. Oh, you're right. That probably is why, actually. It's interesting.
I really liked how Tobias, like, the free Hork-Bajir thing kind of came out of nowhere, but, like, you know, in a good way, like, unexpected. And I like how that brought Tobias, like, okay, I like how, like, Rachel, Jake, and Cassie sit this mission out. I mean, like, because they have homework or whatever, like, fine, whatever. It didn't really seem like the author, like, when that happened, it didn't really seem like the author was, like, shoehorning these three characters into this mission specifically. But then it turned out that each of these three characters had, like, a very personal, like, stake.
Yes, I really love
And it,
that
like,
moment.
was like, oh, I wasn't seeing that coming. Very nice.
No, I didn't see that coming.
Because,
either.
like, Marco's, Visser One being Marco's mom was, like, a thing that all the Animorphs saw coming, and the whole book, everyone's like, Marco, are you sure?
Well, yeah, and that's why Jake says, okay, Tobias, you make the final decisions, because Marco's clearly distracted by this is his mom, so he's going to be biased because of that. So if he has a plan that you think sounds too much like he's getting distracted by it being his mom, like, you make the final calls on that, you know?
But also, Tobias has skin in the game, too, because it involves the Hork-Bajir clan, which is his thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Eggs wants to kill Visser 3.
Yeah, because Visser 1 offers to kill Visser 3 for them.
Yeah.
Or to get them in a position to kill Visser 3.
So those two are kind of on the opposite sides, and Marco's
Mhm.
like... in the
So, like,
middle.
then it's like, oh, shoot, now I have to, like, this book makes me ask, like, to what extent can any of these Animorphs make, like, rational decisions? And it's
Yeah.
like, it turns out, like, not really any of
None
them. At any point, really, because, like, obviously there's a very personal war for them at every point. Chapter 2, does anyone else think it's really weird that Marco is apparently planning to just, like, wallop this little woman
Yes,
based on
I
her
thought that was
accidentally
the
knocking him
strangest thing
over?
ever.
No,
Like-
just trying to trip her.
Well, yeah, that's what it turned out to
explain that
be.
he was going to trip
It
her
sounded
until
like he
after
was gonna,
already
like,
didn't.
punch
It
her in
sounded
the
like he was
head
gonna freaking
and kick her in the... It sounded like he was going to punch her in the head and, like, kick her into the mud or
No,
something.
I didn't think
he
that.
He mentioned his Saucony cross trainer.
I don't know what that
Wait,
is.
so what exactly happened?
I kind of
She, like,
thought
hit
the
him with a
Saucony
briefcase?
cross trainer might have been like a
Cross-trainers
baseball
are
bat,
shoes.
honestly.
Hang on,
Like,
what exactly happened again? So, like,
Cross-trainers
she like,
are
hit him with a
affections.
briefcase on
She
accident?
has a big briefcase, which
Which is
presumably
the
has,
portable
like,
Kendrona ring.
yeah, the Kendrona pool in it. And
Oh,
she hits.
okay.
She accidentally hits him in the head with it without noticing him,
So
so
walking
that he
past
falls
him.
over. And, like, Marco decide, and, like, this is before Marco is, like, you know, I don't know, like, this is before Marco knows what the plot of this book is gonna be. So, but yet he decides that, like, from his perspective, someone just absent-mindedly ran into him, and so he decides to intentionally, like, beat the shit out of this woman, is what it sounds like to me. I know it turns out that he was just planning to trip her, but I
He
gave myself...
says very heavily this woman had an appointment with the dirty pavement, courtesy of a well-placed,
Yeah.
Saucony.
I didn't know what a Saucony cross trainer was.
Saucony.
I kind of assumed he was going to, like, kick her in the head or something.
Okay, see, I assumed he was going to trip her. I don't know what you guys were
I
thinking.
didn't.
I had more violent
I thought
thoughts.
he was gonna kick her over.
Yeah. Oh, wait, so...
Nothing seriously damaged but my dignity. And then next sentence, this woman is gonna freaking die tonight.
I skirted the crowd and hid behind a big concrete column about a yard ahead, just at the corner of the courthouse. When Wig Lady passed, bingo, bango, bam! That's not the sound of tripping. That's like he's freaking, like, just gonna jump her.
She was going down. Yeah.
And I like how the book writes about this behavior, like, not like, oh, I was stressed, that's why I was doing it. Like, nope, like, I got tripped immediately, time to exact my revenge.
Like he was still mad about his dream. Or
No.
still in a bad mood. It just was written like this was supposed to be like, you're supposed to be like with
It's like a
him.
silly
Yeah,
little
it was
thing
supposed to
do.
write. It's written like this is like what Greg Heffley would do. Where as a kid I would read it and I'd be like, yeah, this
You're
is just how you're supposed to act.
sympathize.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little slapstick.
I like how this all happens, like Marco's skipping school, because I presumably because he had a bad dream and he was like, oh, I want to get away from life right now. Yeah. And he's like, instead of taking the school bus, he just takes like a public bus like to the inner city, like with all the big businesses or whatever.
So he pretends to be the son. So she goes into a building, and to follow her, he pretends to be the son of this random dude who's just walking in.
The scene was funny.
And acquires him.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah,
he's
like, what do you mean some reason?
I would never morph him. I won't morph him. I definitely won't morph him 2 chapters from now.
Yeah, no, that was interesting because that's what I was just saying.
He will never be morphing Mr. Grant. 2 chapters later, spits out cereal.
Near the beginning of this book, there was this interesting, like it kept bringing up Marco going like, oh yeah, I never planned on doing this one thing, and he like does it like later, and he's like, oh, I wasn't planning on skipping school, but it just like happened. Like, oh, I had no intention of morphing this guy. You know why he acquired him?
You know, this would be more.
Right?
I would be more
surprised.
Make him
calm down so he doesn't like say this isn't my son.
Yeah, was this the first time this happened where like someone like uses the fact that when you're acquiring someone's DNA, they go into like a trance state?
I mean, they've used it on like animals before, but not humans.
Yeah.
So this was a very unique scene for the animals so far.
So I would be more surprised. I would be more believing of Marco when he says, "Of course, I'll never morph Mr. Grant." If they actually like used this tactic before on humans, but then didn't morph them immediately after, but they haven't. So.
I don't see why that seems unbelievable. They wouldn't morph him.
It's not like obviously he gets put in a situation where he has to morph him, but what I mean is like the book wants you to be like, "Oh yeah, okay, he won't morph him." Oh, wait, he did? Whoa.
Well, no, I think he says, like, oh, I had no intention of morphing him, and to me that seemed like an intentional, like, foreshadowing, where, like, you're supposed to know, obviously, he's going to morph him. Like, I felt like Marco writing this book was foreshadowing that intentionally. But yeah, it was...
Well, it's very convenient that the time that he has to morph some guy, he also happened to conveniently acquire that guy earlier, but not for the purpose of morphing
Yeah,
him.
and that scene was really dumb anyway, because it didn't seem to, like, affect anything or go anywhere.
What do you mean?
He almost gets Mr. Grant, like, accused of, like, a very inappropriate conduct, because...
What?
For no reason. He, like, follows Visser One, sees her go into a room, and doesn't decide to investigate further. He's just like, okay, that's all I need to learn. So we spent all this time with him.
I mean, he found out her office number.
Mr. Grant, and it's like, it's not like he walked through, like, some kind of DNA testing thing.
Yeah, it was weird how soon that scene, it was weird how soon that scene ended, because I was, like, interested in what was going on in the building, and then suddenly it was like, and then the next day I was at school, I was like, what? Did I skip a chapter? But yeah,
also, Marco freaking morphs to fly in the middle of an elevator crowded full of people.
Because there's just no way to get off the elevator otherwise.
Well, no, he had a newspaper in front of him, so they couldn't see him. He grabbed a newspaper and put it in front of him so he could
Somebody literally picks the newspaper off him and sees him as like a half fly, and then like looks away, and then is like, wait, and looks back.
And he's fully fly by then.
That's what elevators are like, yeah.
It's all good.
I thought this part seemed reasonably... Like, I
there
thought
was
it was really funny
that... music playing in the background.
I thought it was really funny that he, like, used the guy's, like, acquiring trance to, like, just get him through. Say, hey, it's my dad, okay? Like,
I like how Mr. Grant is, like, the only person working at this building, because, like, as soon as, like, some noise happens, some Miss Secretary's like, Mr. Grant?
Well, Mr. Grant's, like, the president.
And then Marco morphs Mr. Grant, and, like, 2 seconds later, Mr. Grant is there.
Like, I thought it would be, like, some crazy reveal where Mr. Grant is, like, the CEO of the company, and he's gonna get, like, stuck...
Well, I was kind of
like a funny meeting, and he has to come up with ideas as to how to make the business run better, and, you know...
Well, because when he goes in and says, oh, this is my dad, the woman's like, oh, your dad, you have a very important dad there.
Yeah. Right, I thought they would go somewhere with that. But no, it's just, he just...
I didn't mind that.
Marco like comes up with some idea for the company, like...
This all sounds awfully silly for this book, guys.
Like makes an invention that's like really stupid, but like, and then he's like cringing, and then like the boardroom erupts into applause, and like that's the most brilliant idea we've ever heard. And then throughout the rest of the series, we keep hearing references to like Corp making the like weird invention that Marco came up with. And it's just like the best idea in the world, and Marco just doesn't tell the other Animorphs about it.
Yeah,
and the Animorphs are like,
that'd be great.
Is this the first time the Animorphs morphed into an adult human?
No. They did it during the book, one book, right?
I don't remember.
No, that was
with the president?
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember
with Airmorph 1, yeah.
No.
Yeah, Airmorph 1?
No, the one where the all the presidents are having a meeting right near their town, coincidentally, and one of them is a Yerk, but we don't know which one. And like, there's the Russian guy who gets drunk.
They morph the humans?
And
I don't remember them morphing humans for that. I'm looking at their morph list now.
Sure But
Okay,
maybe
yeah,
it's just
according
another thing
to
they
my
acquire
notes, David has a human morph that is the controller government man.
Oh, but only David had that.
Jake also had a human controller government man morph.
Do we have more notes about the businessman scene?
It's revealed that, this was kind of revealed in book 25, but it's revealed that morphs, you also morph the age of the thing that you're morphing.
Well, yeah, I think we assumed that.
I didn't.
Because
I think
they
I
don't
had a
morph
note
baby
about
tigers.
something like that happening in this because Marco. Oh yeah, I was thinking about this because Marco gets like a fat dolly and it's like weird age stuff.
He's like, oh my pants, my morph suit is ripping because I'm so fat now.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Anyway, wide protuberance in my backside.
Anyway, I was wondering how healthy of a diet your morph has and like whether they exercise or not. I was wondering like how that affects it.
Yeah.
Because would DNA be able to record how fat you are?
I think we've determined that it's not actually DNA because that makes no sense.
If it was DNA, like they couldn't do morphing suits, Visser 3 wouldn't be able to be a yerk in a morph.
But that's the word they always use.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense. Like
they wouldn't have microbiomes. If it was DNA, they'd always morph like hairless tigers or something because like there are no cells in hair. Like it's just like cells that can produce hair. So there has to be some information about like, okay, grow fur out to this length or whatever.
Mm.
And like then with human haircuts, like, well, human hair can grow to be about 2 feet long. So like theoretically, if we're going by the rules of, well, the morph always just grows fur out to be like how it would actually be, well then all their human morphs should have like 2 foot long hair.
Mm-hmm.
But so it obviously like
it remembers how long your hair is.
Remembers various information other than DNA.
I don't know. This book just made me think about that more.
It definitely
than I
did.
have in the past.
I do remember being
we definitely talked about this
when I
before,
read this
with like tigers and whatever.
When I read this scene as a kid, I was mad that he didn't turn into like a child version of Mr. Grant and then discover how stupid he was. Yeah.
But they
never turned into baby tigers. They never morph a tiger and turn into a baby tiger.
Because they're not like babies. They're like
baby seals.
Adolescents.
What
that's another time when I was like, "What? How did you turn into baby seals? DNA is not an age."
Wait, was there a point where they acquired baby seals and then morphed into baby seals?
Yeah, that was in book 25.
Man, it was very bad and boring.
It specifically mentions his butt growing really big.
Yeah, doesn't it say like
my
wide?
butt, I turned my double chin neck as far as it would turn and saw over my thick shoulder a wide protuberance and my bike shorts in shreds.
Yeah. My bike shorts in shreds.
Yes.
Oh no.
Marco's gonna get Mr. Grant accused of like inappropriate conduct because like.
Oh, is that what you meant earlier?
Yeah, there's like a secretary or something like coming towards him, and he's like standing there like wearing children's clothing that are all like torn up, and he's like.
No, just a morph suit.
Got his giant like butt out.
Also, I just felt like the whole thing with him taking Mr. Grant. Because he runs into the real Mr. Grant when he's coming out of the bathroom.
Because Mr.
Marco's
Grant's
trying
the
to
only
go
guy who
into the bathroom and demorph. And, yeah, really. And for some reason, this is such a catastrophe that he has to knock Mr. Grant out, drag him into a broom closet, and take his clothes and put them on, and just become Mr. Grant. Instead of just being like, just playing it off as nothing, which is what I would have done. I would have just been like, whatever.
How are you gonna be like, oh, whatever?
But after this, he's gonna be like, okay, not only did I see a complete copy of myself, then he knocked me out and put me in a broom closet.
Yeah, I don't think he needed to do that. I mean, it made...
Like, that's just so much more sussy for, like, no reason.
Like, maybe if the guy said Andalite, like, then he could do that.
Everyone
there's no reason. This was
everyone in this
He probably just would have thought, oh, that guy looks strange like me.
Exactly.
That was kind of weird.
It's just another guy who looks like me.
But instead, a guy who looked like me knocked me out and took my clothes. That's very suspicious.
Everyone in this universe, if you just knock them out, will assume that, like, things, like, in the past, like,
that was a dream.
30 minutes were a dream, yeah.
Which is not how things work in real life, might I add. I hate when media uses that trope, and Animorphs has used it quite a bit.
Like, yeah, I guess I dreamed that I don't work in a broom closet with all my clothes off.
In a broom closet and naked, yes.
I guess I dreamed that I came to work with clothes on this morning. Silly me. I must take my vitamins.
Did they explain how he knocked him out, by the way? Because I was like, wait, how did Marco just knock this guy out?
It's
just like slap him?
He just used his big man fists.
Just buck slap him?
Big man fists.
Okay, yeah.
Also, nobody in this office building saw any of this go down.
No.
Mr. Grant is the only guy who works here, I told you.
Yeah, it was fun. I like this scene. I like the whole It was
It wasn't
fun.
a bad
It was unique as far as Animorphs opening
just a
scenes go,
little-
I think. And you know, I just the fact he was skipping school because he had a bad morning. I like that idea.
I thought it was very Marco. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, you probably don't. I tried out a devil may care grin. Not a big success. Jake folded his arms over his chest and looked down at the ground in silence, then up at me. Jake has changed a lot over the months we've been fighting this little war. The look he gave me did not come from my boy Jake, my bud, my pal. It came from a battle commander. Freaky seeing how old Jake has gotten. Marco, you're my best friend. But if you ever go off like that again, you and I will have serious problems. In the old days, I'd have said, bite me, or something equally brilliant. Now I said, okay, understood. It was all I could do to stop myself from saying, yes, sir.
What exactly did the last
that.
part
That was
mean?
brilliant.
Huh?
What exactly did the last part mean? Did that mean he respects him, or was that like, supposed
He
to be
can't,
sarcasm?
like-
Now he can't talk back to him.
Yeah, he doesn't see Jake as, like, a friend anymore as
It's
much.
so sad.
Like,
is that why
and
you
that,
think
I
it's
honestly, like, this is, like, good. This is, like, something I haven't noticed is, like, hadn't really noticed until it was pointed out, but, like, the old books, like, Jake and Marco would joke around a lot more, and I think the books have done a pretty good job of, like,
doing that.
organically, like, kind of dimming that, like, decreasing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad this book brought up Jake and Marco's friendship and how it's become strained, and that doesn't get resolved either.
Yeah. No, it's like,
It ends with like the most tense moment that Jake and Marco could have.
that's interesting.
Really.
Yeah, and I'm glad this was, like, put this in this scene instead of just being, like, show don't tell. Like, I feel like a lot of other books would have been like, that's my buddy Jake. We used to be close, but now he's more like a battle commander. It's sad.
Yeah.
And Cassie over there, like, you know, like, it just would have been like,
Right.
but they actually, like, showed it, and then, like, they didn't necessarily, like, resolve this.
Guard dwell on it too much now.
It was great. I was like, holy crap, they're right. Like, that is what, like, that's why, like, this is, like, if you would call this, like, fan fiction, as in, like, a, you know, like, because a ghostwriter wrote it, it's, like, this is, like, really good fan fiction. Like, this is, like, written by, like, somebody who's, like, read the books and, like, cares a lot, and is, like, taken, like, maybe this
I don't
isn't,
even want to go there because freaking Capelgate is writing fan fiction now.
okay.
Well, I'm glad that this ghost author did such a good job.
But yeah, this, to be fair, yes, this goes on there. Really did their research. They did
Yeah.
a fantastic job.
I had probably had an
Really happy.
outline
And you know
from
what?
Capelgate.
Ghost written books aren't necessarily bad by default. That's what
Yeah,
it
that's
proved
what
to
I've
me,
learned
and now I'm
for the
happier.
first time.
Yeah, I mean,
Because, like, 29 felt like a book that could have been great, but was just good because of the ghostwriting. But this book was great, and was better than the Capelgate book we just read by a lot.
And I was not expecting to say that.
I gotta say, I'm glad that the very first ghost-written book, I think, was the worst one. Like, so far.
25?
Whatever the first ghost
I'd say
the
27
polar
was
bear
worse,
was.
but yeah.
Like, I think I was only one I downvoted was the
What
first
was
ghost-written
27?
book.
Squid book.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that one
Catboy.
wasn't worse to me. I like that book.
I don't remember anything about the dang squid book.
I don't...
What happened in
the
that
Droad,
book?
the Droad was in
Droid
it.
is introduced.
I hate the Droad.
Well, I
He
don't.
sucks.
But no, the
The
whole
Droad
polar bear
is.
book was just boring and sucked the whole time. Like, that was the worst ghost-written book to me.
Yeah, 25 is worse.
So I'm just glad that they've gotten, like, better. I assume they'll go down to getting worse, but, you know, it's good to know that there's good ghost-written stuff. Like,
Mhm.
and great ghost-written stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I med 27, and I found another one.
One note that I liked is when Marco's in school, he looks at Rachel from across the room and just mouths the word alive, like to say that Visser One's alive. Although I feel like that wouldn't really
It was
imply
not
that.
communicated good, and I'm glad Rachel didn't understand it, because I thought that would have been stupid if she had.
Yeah, evidently Rachel doesn't read lips. She misunderstood what I said and responded by mouthing two words I won't repeat.
Which also felt a bit extreme.
What do you think he mouthed? Like, she thought that he mouthed.
F you.
No, what would like alive? What
What
would
do you think
that is?
What do you think she thought that he mouthed?
I have no clue. Oh.
What am I saying? Oh, what do you think it was?
I love you.
Oh, is that with? Okay, I didn't know that. Maybe, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay,
And then she just
whatever.
presumably says like "f you" or something.
Let's just not start. Let's just stop talking about this scene.
What's wrong? Did something bad happen?
Wait, if you have anything else to say about it, you can.
No. Alright, you sounded like, oh, I hate this. Is making me uncomfortable.
I like that Marco goes from being, like, kind of excited that his mom is alive to, like, this like, single-minded, like, oh man, I just love the idea of, like, Marco, like, coming up with this, what he calls, like, a bright, clear line of, like, how to do this and how to get from point A to point B. And just, like, he just, like, denies himself, like, thinking of anything. He tries his best to, like, deny himself from thinking of anything but the bright, clear line. And I think it comes across really well.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
really interesting.
Especially because his plan was really convoluted anyway.
I feel like the phrase clear line was in this book too many times.
Nah.
They worked as a theme.
No, it was like it was like an orc words.
It was just strange. The phrase bright clear line is in this book 7 times.
I think
Yes,
that was
because it was a motif.
I know, but it just distracted me. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it probably wasn't a bad thing. It was just odd.
Maybe it would be better if it was like something people actually say
Maybe.
instead of just something this ghost author.
Yeah, that might be it. Actually, yeah. It like wasn't like a phrase I was familiar with. It's like, oh, those are exact 3 words again. I don't know. It kind of took me out of it a little bit. Not that it was bad. You know, I'm not like, oh, I didn't like this book because he said bright clear line 7. You know, it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any notes till chapter 11.
It just made me think of the phrase every time it came up.
Did they mention that the island from Buppo the Clown's aquatic rescue mission was called Rorian Island?
What?
Yeah, I remember that like they made a weird
Did I
reference
give
like
myself
that.
away on the Rorian Island mission I demanded? Or
Yeah,
today?
I was like, what?
Yeah, Royan is in book 15.
Alright,
So I could not
completely
remember
forgot.
that at all.
What are you talking about, Buppo the Clown?
Yeah, Royan Island is in book 15 several times. It says it.
Okay, did not remember that whatsoever. Not a
So
very
I guess
memorable
this is
name.
just the ghost author flexing again.
Well, it's better.
I read book 15.
It was better than when, like, in the Altermos book, they, like, kept name dropping Big Jim the Monkey when there was, like, one line.
Yeah.
I don't think I do.
So also, it's possible for them to open up the door on the roof without being cockroaches, but they decided to become cockroaches and slide under anyway.
Yeah, why do they
And
move
don't
cockroaches?
like just stay as humans and walk down the stairs like that. Instead, they decide to become cockroaches and slide down all the way.
So we can have a fun little scene, I guess.
Like, I guess
this is fun.
I guess so they didn't get seen? Because
No
I was
one
like,
was there. It was the middle of the night.
yeah, and I was like, why couldn't they, like, morph flies? I guess because they wanted a morph that they could be safe in, but didn't they end up unmorphing anyway? To, like, to go into something
Yeah,
else?
wait, why didn't they use flies? There was like some explanation they
There's some
gave.
stupid explanation, yeah.
I assumed there was, but, like...
Oh, because of the air
Oh, because
filtration.
there is a freaking... See, remember this whole scene where Marco gets sucked into the air filter and then has a scary adventure and is like, oh,
was that in a previous book?
No, because he morphs a fly in the elevator, then he's a fly and he follows Visser 1, and then when she gets to her door, he's like, okay, time to fly away. And he gets sucked into an air filter and almost dies because he has to demorph while he's in there to get out.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember that. Okay.
Which doesn't seem like it would be that big a deal, but apparently it was, so...
Why? Hang on. So were they sliding down so they could get down faster? Was that the reason?
Yeah.
Because they didn't want
So
to have
they
to jump down every stair.
every single stair.
Okay, was that because it would take too long or because it would be difficult?
Both.
Both?
I feel like they could just like climb the walls down. Is what I was thinking. But that would also take a long time.
Yeah. I don't know how long cockroaches can crawl on the walls. I don't know. I haven't seen cockroaches in my life that much.
Me neither.
I see cockroaches every day.
Sure.
We live in Antarctica. We have no insects here.
Sorry.
We're actually one of the 7 people in Antarctica.
The only place the Yerks haven't penetrated yet. Except they're still trying to get it through our
The
door.
Yerks have penetrated my butthole. Okay, anyway, I'm cutting that out. Let's
Yeah.
continue. Yeah, there it is.
Alright, so one thing I didn't get, one can paint a window, project a hologram onto the back of the paint, and thereby disguise a room. The Visser has projected a picture of a normal office onto the back of the paint. Very clever. What?
I don't know.
I don't
Sorry, what
care.
about that by me again?
High-tech stuff,
It's
high-tech,
high-tech.
whatever. Doesn't have to make sense.
Paint a window. So,
Why on the back of the paint?
paint
What does that
it
mean?
over an existing window? What?
I don't remember the scene you're talking about. When is this chapter 9?
Yeah.
How do you project something on the back of the paint?
Yeah, so that people
It's
can see it.
high-tech paint.
Yeah,
Paint
high tech
window.
paint.
Every little
Make
bit
a
of paint can
hologram.
turn itself over.
I don't remember this scene at all.
Okay. Also, I thought it was kind of dumb that Marco's mom
Kid picks logic.
wasn't aware of their being in that room at all, even though they're 3 feet right behind her. She's just kind of sitting there
Yeah, that was kind of convenient. She's just facing away from them. And
Wait.
also can't hear them.
Yeah, but
They
how
also
did
can't
They were having entire
They're
conversations.
literally talking to each other out loud.
And then Marco's mom says something to the Yerk that when it crawls back into her ear, and they hear that clear as day, but she can't hear them.
Wait, were they not in thought speak?
Marco wasn't because he was human. They were all demorphed.
Wait, why were they all demorphed in the Visser One's room?
Because they're stupid. I literally don't know why they just demorphed
because
as soon as they got in there. Especially because Marco was like, "Yes, Visser One is definitely in here right now. I know this." I don't. It's just.
Yeah, it would have
stupid stuff.
It would have. It would have made.
I like it as much.
It would have made more sense if like they didn't know that she was gonna be there, because like that also makes more sense. Because why would you think she's gonna be there in the middle of the night?
Right.
Just because she was there.
Because she has to get her
to
Candrona or whatever.
She could have gotten it earlier in the day.
They didn't know anything about Visser One being like freaking cut off from York society or any of that.
No, Marco said that he. I think before they went in, Marco was like, "Oh, she's in disguise probably because she's accused of treason from what happened in book 15." I think Marco said that.
Happened in book 15?
No, I think Marco mentioned that before they went in. I think.
Well, Stir started another game of Catan.
So anyway, they go into the bathroom and then Marco morphs his gorilla morph and they come back out and they're like, "All right, let's fight these Hork-Bajir."
When does the frisking my own mother part happen? When is that?
When Marco has his mom in a headlock.
Yeah, that was a.
And Tobias is like, "You better kill her. What if she has a weapon?" Or Axe says that. And then Tobias says, "She's not carrying anything. I'd see it." Like, okay.
I looked in her butthole. Using my hawk vision.
I was halfway between a loving hug and a furious strangle.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like the dichotomy between like treating his mom as his mom and as Visser One. And I also like that they added some detail in here about like how Visser One is like Marco's mom. In
like how she was a crazy driver, yeah.
Yeah, and which is where Marco gets it from, I guess. And like they I don't know, there was like parts where they were like, and then she suddenly like looked like a disgruntled like woman, you know, like just looks like some normal woman now at some point.
Mm-hmm. Or she like smiles the way Marco's mom smiles. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that stuff has been brought up before, but like, yeah, it's cool on this. If she's a sub-Visser now?
Yeah, I think it was funny that they kept referring to her as Visser One, but like she's not Visser One anymore,
Yeah, she's
really.
not Visser One anymore.
Like I remember when there was a part where.
Which kind of sucks, because that means she's not as much of a girl boss as before. Also, doesn't that
No,
mean...
she just girl bossed too hard.
Doesn't that mean Visser One...
It's just
Visser
that the
3 is now
Council
Visser
of...
2 and Visser 2 is Visser One now?
The Council of 13
probably
hates
not.
to see a girl boss winning.
Somebody else just gets promoted to Visser One.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know how this works.
The Visser promotions happen really fast, as we learned from the Andalite Chronicles.
I think Visser 3 is just so incompetent that the Council
like-
of 13 will never promote him.
Who's Visser 2? So before I read Megamorphs 3, I was under the impression that the character in Megamorphs 3 was Visser 2, and that's what I was assuming.
I was thinking about that too. I don't think I said this out loud, but I was like, Visser 4? What about Visser 2?
Have we met Visser 2? Like, I
don't
feel like
think we
Visser 2
have.
has been a character that's been mentioned offhand or something.
I think
I feel like he was mentioned in book 2, maybe?
Maybe.
Better
That was when we
mentioned.
learned about the Council of 13 and all that through Chapman.
I think in the previous episode I accidentally called Visser 1 Visser 2 a few times because I forgot that she was Visser 1 into the 2.
Yeah.
So sorry about
I
that.
don't know how
That's
York
confusing.
politics work. They make it sound like she's still Visser 1 and she doesn't stop being Visser 1 until she's been
And
executed.
she still has all these troops behind her.
Yeah, and they
her
say
old
stuff
ship,
like,
yeah.
I think York,
Oh, you're right.
like
That's
York
right. Yeah,
Vissers
that
are
would
just
make
like much
sense.
more autonomous than like an army general, because like they just have they have like entire like
And they have,
people
like, their own
who are
uniform
like
colors,
loyal to
yeah.
them, whether or not, and like even after she like does a treason, she has like all these people who are still loyal to them.
Hey, you're right. Why does she have people?
It seems
like
like
that?
the
Doesn't
York
make any sense.
seems like the York politics just like York government just has way less control over individual. They're like they're way more of an individual liberties kind of guys than us.
I guess so.
Than even us Americans. The Yorks are the real Americans, if you think about it. They think that if you commit a treason, you
There's
should
the
be able to
Yorks
just
of
keep
the
going.
Americans
You should
of
be able to keep
every
going until
state.
someone rightfully exercises their Second Amendment rights to shoot you down. You know, like just like how God intended.
Mm-hmm. Tobias breaks Cassie's window for some reason.
When is that?
Chapter 14.
And she's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Now I have to explain this to my parents. So they go all the way to Cassie and talk to her just so that she can tell them, oh, you should acquire a mountain goat to go on the mountain.
Hey, Cassie has been more animals than most people have seen in their lives. That
Oh.
includes Marco. Marco has never seen a mountain goat. He didn't know about it, okay?
Dude, I was reading this book and I was like, dude, goats are really funny because every time they said
I don't
goats,
get why he turned into a cockroach and not a goat in this.
I just thought about your goats.
You mean on the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be better.
I like one. I think.
This is new morph.
I think a goat is less original of a.
They've done
No.
They've done cockroaches like a million times.
I'm just saying that they've.
already.
No, I'm saying like on the covers they have a lot more mammals than they have bugs. So I don't mind if they choose to do a bug on the cover instead. That's what I'm thinking.
Have you guys seen mountain goats climbing? Like, it's insane. Like, they don't.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
They
Goats
can,
don't
like,
look like they should
walking.
be able to climb, but
they can like
just,
walk up like a vertical wall basically.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and every time I look at them, I'm like, that doesn't. They're okay. I must be misremembering it, but like, no. They can like stand on teeny tiny little tree branches.
Yeah, I'm looking at
like
this picture right now on
squirrels.
your screen. Like there's a
Who
picture of
sent
like
it?
goats like standing in trees like squirrels. It really is like squirrels.
Yeah.
Mountain goat in tree. Just Google that if you want to see it. And goats are like, I think goats are one of the funniest
No,
animals. I realized that while reading this because I just think of the goats that are in your house that always
Yeah.
bark and do.
My
dog
mountain
things.
goats are always climbing stuff.
Oh, are they mountain goats? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're all like 300 pounds.
I like the scene where
These pictures are really funny.
I like this is another example of I brought this up in the last actual book we read where like I would think of something that seemed like why aren't they noticing that, and then it would happen immediately. They just keep being on point with like how my mind works in these recent books, I guess, where there's this whole scene where like Axe is like talking to Visser One in this room or whatever, and then at some point she says like, one of you does almost all the talking, two of you stay and morph. Visser 3 is a fool, he has overlooked something strange. And I was just thinking like, I feel like it would be weird that Axe is the only one talking here. Like, and I thought that was cool that she.
And didn't we bring up the thing about how like aren't the Yeerks going to notice that they're only killing non-humans? I feel like we brought that up in an earlier episode too.
Yeah.
And then that ends up
I'm
being
kind of wondering if you just brought that up because you remember that it was in this book.
maybe,
No,
but I don't remember
no.
it consciously. If I did, I don't remember it consciously. That's why this took me by
Because
surprise.
I feel like they have killed human controllers before.
Yeah,
I mean, not at the same rate, but I think
okay.
it would be something that the controller knows.
I don't think that they was that in this scene.
That was way later.
Okay, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. I assume I feel like they've killed fewer controllers in like Yeerk-related battles. I don't know.
They've like teased the visitors like finding out their secret like in other books.
Yeah, I
especially
remember.
with Visser One, but like I was like they actually so this this part like didn't really mean anything whatever, but like they actually went through with it like which is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I remember like 20 books ago, Chapman was like, "Hey, I saw like some human footprints on the beach. I don't know if these people are humans, but I don't want to bring that up to Visser 3." So I love that like Visser 3's incompetence is such like a through line in these books. Where like immediately, like pretty much Visser 1's like one of her first like direct interactions with the animal if she realizes something that Visser 3 hasn't noticed in 50 books, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
But like
I like that.
some of Visser 3's underlings suspected, but like because Visser 3 is Visser 3, they don't bring it up to him. Which
Yeah,
is believable.
then in a later scene she realizes, oh, these guys are like definitely humans or
There's
something.
definitely
It
cases
almost
of
kind
like
of seems
corrupt
like
people.
they're trying to like replace Visser 3 with Visser 1. At least like when they want somebody who's a more serious villain
Mhm.
and has like more serious like
Yeah.
interactions with the main characters that is more threatening. Because Visser 3 has gotten too silly.
Pretty cool,
Yeah.
pretty funny that the big like the main villain of this series is like a guy who could just turn into anything, but he's not threatening enough, so they bring in a
regular
middle-aged
human
mom.
woman.
Like, I really liked how they interacted with Visser One in this scene. That's my business, Visser One shrugged. There are all sorts of ways to figure out what is going on underground if you have the mental acuity, which Visser 3 most assuredly does not. Tell me, Andalite, the Visser continued, how did your brother, the mighty Elfangor, succumb to so flawed and incompetent a Yeerk as Visser 3? I could ask you the same thing, Axe replied calmly. I know the importance of revenge to the Andalite culture, Visser 1 said. Visser 3 killed your brother. You are honor-bound to kill him. I can make that happen. For a price, Axe said. What for a price, she agreed. What price, I asked. The Hork-Bajir colony. Give me the free Hork-Bajir. I will give you Visser 3. I like the way they interacted in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was believable. I like how they were all, like, guarding. They were both, you could tell, like, both sides were, like, guarding to a degree. And, like, but, like, I like how, like, it was kind of like a natural progression from just, like, antagonism to, like, realizing they have, like, a shared goal here, but still the antagonism is up.
Yeah.
Tell her we agree, I told Axe privately about the free Hork-Bajir. Tobias erupted. Are you insane? There's no way we're giving up the Hork-Bajir. No, we won't, but she doesn't know that. She thinks we're Andalites. You know the one word Yeerks always use in describing Andalites? Ruthless. That's what they think. She'll buy it. Axe said, that is all you ask, Yeerk? The free Hork-Bajir? He laughed. I was concerned you might demand something of value. Like, I like how Marco says this about Andalites, and then he kind of less, like, talks about how he's ruthless through the rest of the book. Like, he decides, like, yeah, that's what I have to be.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, like, the comparison there.
So he kind of, like, becomes an Andalite in a way. Like, he tries to, like, kind of get that Andalite sort of attitude towards
For
this.
himself.
Yeah, and then he has like a whole paragraph about like the word ruthless. Like, oh, it doesn't just mean mean. It's like seeing the very clear line from point A to
Oh,
point
yeah,
B.
that's
without,
great.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
about that a
great-
lot.
That was a great line.
I've thought about that a lot in my life since reading this long ago.
That's cool.
You had better know what you're doing, Marco, my man, Tobias said to me. This is way beyond anything Jake and the others have approved. We're doing a deal with the enemy. You want Visser 3? I shot back. She can give us Visser 3. And then she replaces him, Tobias said. I know Axe's motive here. He has a personal score with Visser 3. The question is, do you have a personal problem here as well? It's a good strategy, Tobias. You know I'm good at that. You know how good I'm seeing at the main chance. Yeah, you are. But that's your mother. I couldn't argue with that. Jake left it up to you, Tobias. Tobias laughed without any humor. You better not be playing us, Marco. If it comes down to it, Visser One, no matter what host body, is meat. You know that, right? You're clear on that. Like, man, like these characters used to be like so much more like playful with each other than they are now. And it's believable, and it's not like I miss them being, well, I miss them being playful with each other just because, like, you know, it's nice to see characters. I care about these characters.
These kids are still 13.
Yeah. I care about these characters, you know, I want them to be, like, happy, but it's just, like...
They can't, though, in, like, a war.
It's interesting, like, their, like, relationships are just, like, devolving into, like...
They're strange.
You better give me this, you better give me this for that. And they still have their moments, but, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
everything's so much less lighthearted than
they don't seem, like, angry at each other, I feel like, in these books. They're just like, okay, you know, realistically, like, we have to, like, agree on something, you know?
Yeah, Tobias just threatened to kill Marco's mom over, like, Marco not doing something right, because...
Yeah, like, Tobias actually really wanted to just get it over with and get her killed.
Yeah.
It was a really intense moment.
Man, I wish they killed that one Andalite in Book 8.
Yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah, they should have. I think about that a lot. But Capelgate doesn't think so. Capelgate thinks I'm bad for thinking that, because this whole book's about...
If he doesn't end up
not
freed, then
murdering.
I'll be more mad about it. But, I kind of forgot about that, to be honest.
Wait, what'll make you more
I
mad?
got over it.
If he doesn't get freed at some point?
So if they just kill him later?
Yes.
Yeah.
That could kind of, like, go into, like, man, things are just... there's no greater meaning to things. You just kind of...
Well, to me, I'm like, there's not a huge difference from killing someone after they become free or when they're still in the controller. Like, what difference does it make?
Basically, all that happened is that he suffered for a lot longer.
Yeah. And, like, you know... Like,
that's kind of what happens in war. Like, you make mistakes and you do things that, like, don't end up being the right call.
Yeah, that's
and you're
why
like,
I'm not
dang.
too hung up about it.
Well, I guess the reason Axe didn't kill him is because he did not kill his enemy, which was Visser 3. Like, he's honor bound to kill Visser 3 and, like, you know, not... He wasn't killing Visser 3 by killing
Yeah,
the
no,
Andalite.
Alarin's brother is gonna have to come back and kill Axe, and he doesn't want to deal with that.
Do you think that's true? I
Yeah,
guess that probably would
Kimba
be.
taught us why revenge is wrong.
I like that in this book.
Do you know
Visser
what would
1
happen if I took revenge on him?
What do you? I don't know what you're talking
There'd
about
never
right
be
now.
any peace in the jungle because someone would always be getting revenge on somebody else.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now think about that.
I like that Visser 1 says, like, oh, I know how important revenge is in Andalite culture and that you're honor bound to kill Visser 3. I have nowhere to go with that, but you know, I kind of forgot that was like common knowledge that revenge is so important.
Especially with Visser One's knowledge of Andalites and how they work, that was so refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the scene too where they're like, oh yeah, Andalites are so arrogant and ruthless, and Axe is like, oh, you mean humble and
yeah.
There was a part that made me really laugh, where they plan to the animals plan to like pretend to be Andalites, and they're like, "Hey, Axe, do you think we can play the role of arrogant Andalites?" Jake asked. Axe responds, "It will certainly require good acting skills to imbue the fundamentally humble and dispassionate Andalite character with the taint of arrogance," he said. And that part made me like laugh out loud, like go into a laughing fit because of how ridiculous it was.
Yeah.
What really made me laugh was later, Tobias says, I spend most time with Axe. I can do a pretty good arrogant Andalite. And Axe says, I am very close to taking offense.
that was a good line too, yeah. Yeah.
It makes me like Axe a little bit more.
It just means more coming from Tobias, his shorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice after last book, like, was just Axe, like, talking about how bad humans are. Andalites get to be taken down a peg again. Like,
amen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And everyone does such a good job of pretending to be an Andalite in this.
Yeah, they do. And in a way that's believable. I like the part where they're like,
so believable.
We're switching to Cassie now because we need her. She's the best at like making us seem like, I don't know what the word they used, but like basically like we cared about her. We cared about this and we were like vulnerable or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that part of the plan was to make them seem more like
they might
mess up or something, which they end up doing, but not in the way they were intending.
Yeah,
because they wanted to seem like more naive than they are, obviously, because they needed Visser One to think that she was on top. Actually, they weren't. No. Anyway, I liked in chapter 17 when Marco explains his plan to Jake, and this is like after the chapter where there was that big long quote of Marco like going all night, running through imaginary conversations with everybody.
And saying like, and including his mom, like, and his dad and stuff.
And then like,
the same chapter.
So
it's
Marco,
a cool chapter, it's 16.
Marco then says his plan to Jake, and Jake says, okay, that was it, just okay. He didn't come out with any of the lines I'd put in his mouth in my imaginary conversations.
Yes, that's really how it goes.
And I thought that I wrote this is good writing to that quote specifically. Like that was a really.
And it's like I don't know if I can put my finger on like what exactly. I don't know. It's just like realistic. It's just like interesting.
He was at the end when he was like saying, you know, in the future, if we win this war, then we're going to be in the history books, and people are going to be like, oh wow, that Marco dude, that was cold, man.
Yeah, he like has an argument with like some future kid.
We're here at the innocent order to stop the evil.
Well, we're future kids right now reading this.
We are future kids.
This is the genius of Animorphs. It's writing down historical facts, but in a way that's so accessible.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Only sometimes accessible. Sometimes it goes a bit far. Like in Megamorphs 3.
Alright, can I read the quote where Visser One finds out? We simply think he will be weaker. As Cassie's is justifying, like, Visser One's like, why are you trying to kill Visser 3 anyway? They'll just replace him with someone more competent.
And this is all the Animorphs. Is Axe there, or is he busy or something?
I think Axe is busy. I think it's Marco, Jake, and Cassie, and Rachel. It doesn't really matter, but like, a bunch of the Animorphs are in the car as a cockroach is hiding from Visser One, and Visser One's like driving the car. And the Animorphs are like, you know, trying to direct her up. And now like Cassie's job is to make them seem like they're like invested in this, so that Visser One thinks that they can that they might be letting their guard down.
Well, yeah, and there was a quote from Marco like planning this. He was like, we want her to focus on disliking Andalite arrogance. So like they're trying to seem like as arrogant as possible to like distract her from like other facts that may not line up perfectly, you know, and like. And trying not to seem like they're like planning some kind of backstabbing thing, because she knows Andalites, unlike the Animorphs who lie while making deals with enemies all the time, Andalites would not like lie making deals.
We simply think you will be weaker, Cassie said. The destruction of command will work to our benefit, and in direct battle you will be easier to kill than Visser 3. Humans, controllers, or not, die easily. Again, it had the feel of honesty. The insult would make it seem honest. And it had the added benefit of focusing my mother, Visser 1, on the danger of Visser 3. We were reminding her just how deadly Visser 3 could be. And yet, Visser 1 mused, and yet, the casualty reports from Earth are always weighted heavily toward Hork-Bajir and Taxons. In fact, I am trying to recall when I've ever seen a report listing a human controller casualty. My guts were ice.
Casualty.
That's what I said.
Okay, I heard casualty.
No, I did casualty.
My guts were ice. We had made a mistake. We had made a terrible mistake. What do I say, Cassie demanded.
Should have killed more humans.
Yeah, I was like, well, was the case... first of all, I didn't really know what the mistake was until...
Yeah, me neither.
Which is, like, pretty cool. But, like, I was like, man, is the mistake that they should have killed more humans, or that they just shouldn't have brought this up? Because, like, actually, like, it's not just that they weren't killing humans. It was that then they suggested in this dialogue that they don't mind killing humans.
Yeah.
And then that conflicts with their actions.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do I say? Cassie demanded. My brain wouldn't work. The thoughts wouldn't form into any sort of order. Visser One had just put her finger on our greatest secret. Say something, Rachel yelled. No, too late, Jake interrupted. Too late. Let it go. No choice. Well, Visser One said. She knew.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my heart just went, oh.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that they are more hesitant to kill humans in battle than the other.
They've literally said that, haven't they? Haven't they literally said, like,
probably.
guys, don't kill humans? Like, that was at least in the earlier books. Yeah. They were like, every human
that
controller has a wife or husband and mother.
I feel like they kind of get a little lax about that towards the middle, and then kind of, like, had a refreshed thing towards that in these last few books.
I think it's mean that they killed the other aliens as much as they want.
It absolutely is. I mean, like, especially towards the beginning, they thought of Hork-Bajir and Taxons as, like, mindless automatons.
Yeah,
they didn't know that they were how sentient they were. And they probably still do with Taxons.
Is, like, growth, but...
Yeah.
There's only one reason why a group of Andalite guerrilla fighters would inflict more... Okay, I don't know if that's the note copied, I guess.
Okay.
Would inflict more casualties on Hork-Bajir on humans. Andalites weren't Andalites. She knows, or at least suspects.
Oh, I like how they just straight up kill people in these books. Not the Animorphs, but, like, they just, like, straight up kill people. And like the Vissers do. Like this park ranger comes out when Visser 3 blows up Visser 1's car, and like they just like casually like fire a Dracon beam at him and he disintegrates.
Yeah, it's really sad.
And then later Marco is like, Axe should have already frightened all the campers from the area. We didn't want innocents caught in the crossfire. We didn't want bystanders hurt. That was our plan. Tell that to the ranger back there, Marco, I said to myself. Tell it to his family. No innocent bystanders in our little war. No place for them, is there? No time to think about the damage you do with our bright, clear line. See, every time they bring up the bright, clear line, it's something like that, and it's, like, really effective, in my opinion. And also, the thing that, the turning point where Marco can't see the bright, clear line anymore, like, I think there's a point where he's like, why can't I see the clear line? Where's the line? Is when he thinks that Jake and Cassie are dead. Which is interesting, because it's, like, it represents, like, a hiccup in his plan. I mean, more than a hiccup. But also, like, I think it's, like, the consequences of his actions of, like, let's kill people and worry about the emotions later, like, are catch up to him in that moment, because he thinks that his two friends are dead, and he has to deal with, like, the human impact of, like, killing people, and then he thinks about, then suddenly, like, when the ranger dies, he thinks about that now, too, because he thinks his friends are dead. And now all he can think of, and then he starts thinking more about, like, man, I'm gonna have to kill my mom.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, he really, like, accepts killing her at this point. Because before, I think he was just kind of, like, you know, just saying it to say it, but, like, when it came right down to it, he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of misremembered the ending of this book from when I originally read it.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, like, honestly, I didn't remember, like, that this book was this book, but in terms of, like, the scene, I remember, like, Marco, like, changing his mind at the last moment and not killing his mom. Like
That's kind of what happened.
But I think he would have. I think there's like they kind of leave it up to interpretation if he actually would have done it.
Because how I interpreted it is
because he is like literally charging at her. He's charging at her,
yeah,
and then only when.
I assumed.
Yeah, I guess it's left up to interpretation.
And you were like, oh, Marco tried to push her off, and then Jake stopped him from pushing her off. And then he tried to save... Like, that didn't make sense to me. I assumed the whole time he was trying to save her.
Yeah,
so I interpreted that.
I think I was closer to mustard in my interpretation.
But I think either way is believable, though. Like, because he certainly has conflicting feelings about this, you know? Because, like, why would...
I truly believe if Jake hadn't been there, she wouldn't... I mean, things would have...
Like, why would Jake stop him from doing that? Just to make him feel better about not doing it? But he has to watch it. Like, I don't see how that...
That's what it is. That's literally what it is. It's like Jake is just doing it so that Marco doesn't have to do it himself. It's like taking the choice away.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like what the theme leads up to, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I teared up in one part of this book.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, definitely not.
What did it matter now? It was over. It would end here. It would matter because knowing at last that we had tricked her, she might call my name. She might say, Marco, don't let them kill me, Marco. And he says, he, like, references the movie Prince of Egypt or something.
Yeah.
He does it on purpose, just so that she'll know.
Yeah.
That it's him.
Yeah, what is he... What?
And he tells her he loves her. Yeah.
That was so great.
He's like, not to go all Prince of Egypt on you, but behold! And that's when he shows up the hologram behind him.
I wanted her to say my name. I'd given myself away deliberately. I wanted her to say my name. I wanted her to call out to me to say, Marco, I love you. I miss you. I'm still your... Oh, God, I had messed up. The plan, I'd ruined it. Just to hear her say my name. I'd been fooling myself. I couldn't do it. But then 2 pages later, I lowered my head and felt the power in my legs. It would be 100-foot drop. I love you, I whispered, and then I lunged. The boy, she whispered. It's the boy. Like, I think that implies that he's going to kill her. I mean, like, why would he... I guess it's kind of vague. Like, I guess, like, is she in danger of, like, falling before he does this? Like, what would he be saving her from at this point?
I don't know.
I feel like all that's happened is that, like, the rocks split, but she's not, I don't think she's, like, in danger of falling at this point.
He's on the same side as her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like the part where she's like, Andalites don't make jokes. You're someone I know, aren't you? Like, pop culture references, I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you're a human, I know you, don't you?
Which it kind of takes her a while to remember that it's Marco, which seems a little unrealistic. Like,
well, a lot of humans make jokes.
What are the odds that it would be Marco, though? Like, what?
Like, she know a lot of people know a lot of humans in their lives.
Yeah, why is Marco the only person who makes... It could have been Gex fault, you know. She could have said, I know a lizard...
I know that guy! That's from the famous video game Gex, my favorite game!
Gex Enter the Gecko.
Yeah.
Wait, when did that come out?
I don't know.
Before this book, I think.
Before this book?
Yeah, before this book.
Yeah, so for all she knew, it could have been Gex. Because Gex makes pop culture references.
Gex like came into being like when his game came out, and now he just exists in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, gadget Gex is now in the real world.
And also is morphed a goat and is trying to kill Visser One.
So did Visser One not know where the colony was? I mean, I guess she didn't, but I'm confused as to how she has pictures of it without knowing where it is.
Does she have pictures of it? I assume she just has heard rumors and has
No, she has
seen
pictures of it sitting on her desk. That's why they found out that she knows about it.
Colony, huh?
When they were spying on her.
It was a console about the size of an upright piano. On top sat a satellite dish pointed toward the outside window. In the middle of the console was a large screen, and on that screen were images that seemed to have been shot from above. Images that were disturbingly familiar. Images of free Hork-Bajir.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, whatever ship took those images, like, why didn't...
Okay, they didn't say they were in the colony, necessarily. Like, they could have been, like, out somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Captain Bug, that's what I assumed.
Yeah, that is true. Good
How
point.
do they know they're free from the images?
Because they're
out, like,
know
having
that
fun,
it's not,
vibing, eating bark.
Well, because the
guns.
ship saw them and then took pictures
They
and
don't
was
have
like, hey,
guns.
we saw these...
Yeah, they're not, like, registered. They
Yeah.
don't have tags on the feet. That's not a leg.
They don't have ear tags.
Yeah. Hang on, so Visser One wanted the colony because the fact that it exists under Visser 3's nose would show incompetence?
Yes.
I'm surprised that there hasn't
she
been...
wanted to document it and then show it to, like, the higher-ups.
See, like, this is why she's still kind of Visser... I feel like this is why... I think the book is implying that there's not, like, another Visser One out there now. Like, I think... Because they said, like, she's not a full Visser, but I think she is still a Visser. So I think...
Sub-Visser.
It said sub-Visser.
Does it say sub-Visser?
Yeah, it said she was demoted to sub-Visser.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think it's implied that, like, she's
I
still...
honestly think they should have just... They put that in there and then forgot about it.
Maybe. They I feel like they just have the, she, like, Yerk politics are very messy. She could just, like, prove that Visser 3 is incompetent, and apparently, like, the Yerks will just forget about the whole treason thing, and then, like, be more impressed with how she proved that Visser 3 is incompetent.
You know, I'm surprised that Visser 3 hasn't been proved to be incompetent, like, way sooner, honestly. Like,
I guess just...
His Analyte Bandits are still alive.
Yeah. And who aren't even fighting him with, like, advanced technology.
Yeah, maybe
just
with, they have
just
like,
with, like,
more
tigers.
advanced technology and whatnot.
They don't have, like, guns.
You know what, I guess the fact, okay, you know, I think of Visser 3's incompetence, I think of stuff like him killing his own men and cutting their arms off for no reason, but that's probably just normal in New York society, to be honest.
I think it is.
So I guess that wouldn't really prove
It's
it.
just gotta be normal. It's people who've done something.
I think it's about as normal as, like, corporal punishment in our society. Which is
how
like,
accepted it is
it's
in
like,
relation to
maybe
how
it's,
messed up it is.
Yeah, maybe it's like being a little bit moved away from at the moment, because Visser 1 seems to, like, see that it's bad, you know, in terms of, like, getting your guys to tell you the truth about stuff, but people still do it, and your society seems extremely corrupt, so...
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, no, it literally says, for a horrible long moment, she teetered on the edge, fighting gravity. I leapt up, racing to grab her, pull her back, somehow save her. Then he feels a tiger's arm on him.
Yeah, so that means he was trying to save her.
No, it doesn't mean that. It means
What?
he's seeing her. He intended to
what's
kill
the quote
her.
again? Can you read that again?
For a horrible long moment, she teetered on the edge, fighting gravity, because somebody, I think Tobias slashed her eyes, so now she's, like...
It says I leaped up, reaching to grab her, pull her back, somehow save her.
That was after Jake pinned him down. So
No,
here's
that
the-
says, but the tiger wrapped a massive arm around him and held me down.
That was after he... Okay,
It
here's what
was?
happened. First, he was alone. Jake wasn't there
The
yet.
tiger hit me. Okay, that
He
happened before.
was going to
Yeah.
charge at her. She was standing there perfectly fine, so it's not like she needed saving. He was going to charge at her. And Jake leaped up, pinned him down so that he wouldn't have to... like, stopped him so that he wouldn't have to be the one to kill her. And then somebody else, like, clawed at her face. I think it's interesting they didn't tell us who.
Yeah.
Somebody claws at her face so that she teeters on the edge. And see, like, I understand this. I mean, not that I've been in this situation, but, like, he's already questioned if he can do it before or not. So obviously like, you know how when you're standing on, like, a diving board or something?
Like, made him
when you're
what's happening.
Exactly. Like, you're standing on a diving board and you're like, okay, I'm gonna jump. No, I'm not gonna jump. I'm gonna jump. And then you jump, and then, you know, then it's over. It's happening. You can't go back. But, so that was what he was doing when he was about to, like, throw her over the edge. But then, he's pinned down, and once he's stopped, he's going back and forth, and seeing her stagger on the edge, seeing the consequences of his action, he sees it, wait, I can save her, but he can't, because Jake is stopping him.
Okay, right, previously it does say, yeah, I would hit her off. Okay.
Which is like, this is like a really interesting way to
And then Jake
like
comes
pay
up
off
before
the
that.
whole like conflictedness. It's like in the moment where he has to watch somebody else kill her, he does actually try to like save her. But when he was by himself, he was going to do it, but Jake stopped him. I think Jake stopped him partly because he didn't want Marco to have to like live with that. But also maybe because like he didn't know exactly what Marco was going to do.
Yeah, I think
Marco was intending to kill her.
I think maybe Jake was worried that Marco would like jump down with her or something.
Yeah, that too, honestly, which is like what seemed like he was planning to do that because he said he's like, this is my last day on Earth too.
Yeah.
My life ended today too. No, 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 I cried. Hang on, Marco, Jake said. Hang on, man, hang on. He held me that way, pinned down. The strength of his tiger morph made my own strength insignificant. Hang on, Marco, hang on, man. And then the chapter ends.
Yeah,
I
was very confused about the scene the first time I read it. Like, what is he saying hang on for?
Just sit there and let it happen. Just watch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just, you're just gonna, sorry. In the battle, a sky raged between the Empire ship and the Blade ship with its fighters. Not my problem anymore. Nothing was my problem. All I had to do was listen to the voice in my head saying, hold on, Marco. Hold on, man. Hold on. And this is like, we just talked about like how Jake and Marco aren't really friends in the same way they are anymore. They used to be anymore. They're not the same friends in the same way, but like, this shows how much Jake cares about Marco.
It's kind of a tender moment, yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think neither of them have any like malice or disrespect toward each other. I don't think even in moments like this,
No, it's just like a commander and subordinate.
Really sad, and I think it's really cool that the author made us think about Jake and Marco's relationship, how it used to be earlier in this book, and now like this is what it is now. So yeah, I only have one more note. Okay, what if she isn't dead? What if she really did survive? Oh God, what if there's a next time? Rachel came back and sat beside me on the bed. She didn't hug me. Rachel's not a hugger. But she sat there with me. One battle at a time, Marco. One battle at a time. Not much of an answer, but the only answer I had. Try the movie channel, Rachel said. I am the remote control. We're sitting on the couch. Like, yep, just distract yourself some more.
Rachel didn't have a lot to do in this book. Mostly she was just pretending to be a dumb harpageur.
Oh, that's the last line of the book, though.
Yeah. No, I like how there was no, like, the ending was not, like, overly, like,
it's very abrupt.
Wrapping it up.
Yeah, it was very abrupt.
Makes sense.
I like his line, the scene flashed back, another channel on the TV, my mother falling to her death show.
Yeah.
There was a funny answer.
Yeah. Just like Marco. There's also a bit earlier we didn't really touch on where Rachel is, like, really mad at Marco for Jake and Cassie being dead, supposedly.
I totally forgot that Jake and Cassie died in this book.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's not... You know, the animals have, like, almost died many times.
Yeah.
And, you know, when the animals, like, fake died, it's not very, like, effective. At least it certainly wasn't to me in this book.
It wasn't in the last book. I thought Jake was dead.
Yeah.
No, this was way more effective.
Neither of them really
book.
worked that much for me.
That's too bad.
They're kind of the same.
I feel like Jake and Cassie's deaths here were good at raising the stakes, though.
I didn't
that's
even...
kind of what they were.
I guess I just didn't notice it all.
Thematically. I guess it did in the last book, too.
So, wait, did you have the racial quote?
Okay, so, like, Jake and Cassie are AFK? What's the word? Whatever. They don't know where they are. They think they're dead. Missing in action. And then, like, Axe they don't know where Axe is either. So Marco says, he was supposed to do his best to clear the area, then rejoin us, I said in frustration. Plan not working out so well, General? Rachel said. Just get Visser One up that mountain. Face it, Marco, it's a fiasco. It's a total fiasco. We're dragging this woman up the mountain for what? It'd be so easy just to give her a shove off the trail. Shut up, Rachel, I yelled. Just shut up. Oh yeah, you're calm and in control, Rachel taunted. Jake's gone, Cassie's gone, and the person running this mission is working on setting up his own mother? This is a waste of time, Marco. Just fly off somewhere. Just get out of range so you don't have to see what I'm... Rachel, that's enough, Tobias said quietly. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Tobias never messes with Rachel. I think Rachel was shocked too. Marco has enough load on his shoulders, Tobias said. I trust him. You trust him? You trust him? Tobias also, like, comes around on Marco in this one. Because earlier he was, like, really mad at him.
No, it doesn't at all. I think this is the least ghost-ridden seeming book that we've had out of the ghost-ridden ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that Rachel ends up being the one to, like, tell Marco, hey, I think your mom's alive, by the way. Although it is weird that it was the exact same person as in book 15, but whatever, I'll forgive that. And I like all the Animorphs kind of had, like, different opinions about, like, the central conflict of this book. Like, I liked Cassie's, like, guys, like, he shouldn't just kill his mom, like, that's his mom, like, how that's gonna mess him up and stuff,
Yeah.
And then Marco disagreed with that, like at least in his internal dialogue, he was like, no, I need to do this, and that was a whole conflict. I feel like all of the internal conflict in this book seemed really realistic to me.
As a reader, it seemed really obvious. Like, no, Marco should not be the one to kill his mom. Are you kidding? Like, let other Animorphs do that. But and that's what I was thinking when I read this as a kid. But as an adult, it's but it does make sense that he feels this way, and it does make sense that the other Animorphs are they don't really know what to say to him. They haven't really gone through anything like this situation themselves.
This is crazy because this book means that I'm not wrong about this. The Marco's actual mother now knows that Marco is an Animorph pretty much.
I guess so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Unless she's dead.
After her thinking that okay, she's not dead, but after her thinking that she was a controller,
she's not dead.
He's a controller.
I guess it was a pretty positive outcome of this.
Yeah. And which is part of why I like this better than 15. Only part of why I like this better than 15 because of the more positive outcome. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of other stuff, as I said.
Wow. If you go to the reunion, Animorphs number 90, it says
30. Sorry,
Animorphs number 30. It says you purchased a different paperback format of this item on July 6, 2012.
Oh, you did?
Apparently, I purchased this book on this Amazon account.
Well, that's a long time ago.
On July 6, 2012.
Wow.
Animorphs. Up to the minute info on the Animorphs.
Wait,
sneak previews of books and TV episodes. Fun downloads in game.
Wait, why are we just looking at the book? Are we talking about this book more?
I've said all my stuff.
I have one of Tetris songs.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I think it's music C. Can you make Tetris music C?
No, I can't.
It's the Nutcracker one. No, not that one.
That's the only one I know.
That's music A.
So, I want to talk about the next book a little bit.
Oh boy.
I went to the Animorphs, the Amazon page for this book to look into to find the next book preview for the next book that they have in this book in the original printing. And I don't remember much about this next book, and I just kind of vaguely remember the premise. But now I'm wondering.
This is a very intriguing tagline. Oh my goodness.
What is it?
When they say it's all in your head, believe it.
Yeah, it's called The Conspiracy.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Very interesting.
I will say I don't remember. From my summary of the book that I have in my head, I don't know why it's called that. Probably I think for no reason. But we'll see.
It's definitely not no reason. All the books have been related.
Shush. So
I want to make a spreadsheet of how all the titles are related to the books.
Yeah, you do that. So my memory is that the plot of this next book is whatever, who cares? But having just read this book, I'm wondering if that's gonna change the context of it and having a new appreciation for this book that I have now. Okay, so here it is. Can Jake win this family feud? Jake's brother Tom has convinced their father to attend a meeting of the sharing.
Oh boy!
It seems as if Tom is going to force their father into involuntary yerk infestation. The Animorphs don't know when or where the meeting is going to be held, and for the first time, Jake's quick-thinking mind freezes up. Jake is sure of one thing: he needs to save his father, but how can he do this without exposing himself and the other Animorphs? In bookstores, June 1999.
Okay, dude, now I'm hyped. This is the book I've been waiting for since book 1.
Alright.
What, you've been waiting for Jake's
book
dad?
6 or whatever.
But yeah, what do you mean?
Not
what have you been waiting
Jake's dad,
for?
but just more stuff with Jake and Tom.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Tom has been so underutilized and so underexplored in this series.
Yeah, I'm surprised Tom hasn't tried to make Dad a controller 20 years ago, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Before he was even born.
No, 20 books ago,
I
should
know.
say.
Which is 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer game Wednesday, math test Friday, trip to the Yerk Pool Saturday. Life can be hectic. Now you can get organized. Animorph Student Planner, 1999 to 2000.
That's where you put in the student
Coming
planner.
this June to bookstores everywhere. Yeah. Warning, don't let it fall into the wrong hands. I love how even their advertising for their tie-in merchandise is paranoia fuel.
Okay, time to sign out. I'm Mustard.
I'm V Natural. Do you have the jokies?
Yes, I have the chokies.
I'm better.
I'm Mustard.
I'm V Natural.
I'm better.
I'm Mustard.
I'm V Natural.
We're not doing this.
Okay.
Oh, I like the background on this cover, by the way.
It just looks like a regular sky.
Yeah,
although it is still inverted, I think. Well, no, I guess it's just the colors.
It is inverted, yes. Or not inverted, I mean, it does the thing where they reflect it over an axis. Although this one,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
think
like,
it is quite reflected.
it is, but it's like stretched along one axis. It's like stretched more one way than the other, I think.
Okay.
And part of this covered by his butt, so it's hard to tell. Oh, I made, by the way, if you go to our Twitter, I made like a fake Animorphs cover with like the new Mario game where you morph into an elephant.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is, yeah. Because I saw another one that someone online posted, and I was like, this sucks because they just made him like fade from one to the other. Because every fake Animorphs book cover always does that. It just
awful.
fades from one to the other, and it's not at all like the actual
This
covers.
is kind of a nitpick, but you used the wrong Animorphs logo, though.
Yeah, I couldn't find a good one, and I was trying to make this fast.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's like, dude, in like for this one especially, like in the video, he like morphs in it, so you can just pause it and go frame by frame and copy those. Like it was not difficult
A
to make this
surprising
image.
number of people don't know about the... Here's a PSA. If you're on YouTube, you can use the comma and the period key to move frame by frame.
Yeah, which
A surprising number of people don't know that. Like, I was watching, like, a kind of a big-ish YouTuber with, like, you know, like, 1 million subscribers, like, who apparently didn't know that, because whenever he wanted to go look at a frame, he kept, like, going back 5 seconds. And
yeah,
like,
it's a very
pausing.
unknown thing, I think.
It's so weird, like, because that guy's, like, a YouTuber. He edits all the time.
Yeah, very useful stuff is when you pause comma and period, which is like left caret and right caret, so it looks kind of like arrows. That's why.
Oh, I guess that's why, yeah.
Yeah, well, because then
I always think of those keys as comma and period, though.
Yeah.
In Doom on like
that's when you pause, of
95,
course, because you can't
the
go from-
default controls is comma and period to straight, left and
Wow.
right.
And then I assume people know this, but left and right arrows is 5 seconds, and then less people probably know this. J and L is 10 seconds back and forth, because then K is pause.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the time this episode comes out, none of this will probably be true anymore. Also on Chrome, if you hit Control-Shift-T, it opens the last tab that you closed, which I use that all the time.
I'll
It's very
use that.
helpful.
If I remember it, like, it sounds very useful.
Oh, you never use that?
I didn't know about it. I find myself often wishing there was something like that.
Like every time
there is a recently closed tab, but sometimes that doesn't work.
I just constantly want to share this stuff, but I never want to feel like I'm just like... I feel like it'd be annoying if you just like randomly say this
do
stuff.
a barrel roll?
Yeah, exactly. But but this is stuff that's like legitimately useful to me. I use the frame by frame stuff all the time when I'm trying to go to a certain frame of it. You know, because sometimes you like want to go to a certain frame or whatever.
Oh, I haven't typed do a barrel roll in a really long time.
And like the Control-Shift-T I use like constantly.
Okay, we're saying joke time.
Joke time. Open the joke book and see what's inside. We should do that every episode.
Oh, we should.
Do you know what's a reference to? Is that an only one episode, Stuart? Do you know?
I don't know.
It's in Blue's Clues. They say present time, open the present to see what's inside.
Oh, okay.
And my I think my cousin always says that at like parties.
Guys, what are other Google tricks?
Wait,
If you Google SQ, it will tilt the page.
Oh, that's a good one. Shh. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's fair?
Colleen? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, is it Colen?
Yeah, 2 L's, 2 E's.
Yeah. Colleen who?
Colleen Ballinger?
No.
Colleen Baker?
No. What? No.
Calling all able-bodied citizens to...
Fight for their country.
Calling all the monsters.
I thought this
Calling
one
all
would be...
super readers.
I thought this one would be obvious.
What is that? Is that from Ghost Riders?
Is that from Super Y?
Yes.
Oh, it is,
super
you're right.
wide.
Oh, I got it right? I thought it might have been like Wood Girl or something. Okay.
I used to watch.
I can't believe I guessed
watched
that
show a
right.
little bit.
I did
when
watch
was
it.
Calling
little.
all creeps. That's one of the names of the Goosebumps books.
I watched Super Y quite a bit, so but I don't think I remember that consciously. So that's funny that I got that right.
Calling all students to come take the freaking standardized test.
It's not calling.
It's not.
Colleen.
Colleen?
Calling greens is something tasty to eat.
Eat your Colleen greens.
That's so bad.
That's not the actual joke.
If you just keep scrolling down after searching for a skew, like the results just go off the page.
Yeah, it's just cute.
I was kind of assuming like every time you hit more results, it would like shift it back a little bit so that it doesn't happen.
Guys, Colleen. Who am I? Okay, I guess I'll just reveal myself.
Clean your face.
Clean your room.
You have a test tomorrow, young
Clean
man.
the school. It's the
Yeah,
end of the year.
is Colleen up your room?
gosh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna cut all out what happened just now, but Bad was having an extreme laughing fit and it was pretty great.
Why would you cut that out? It's so funny.
I was asked to. He asked me to. Bad, are you okay?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm crying now.
You look like you're like dying.
I don't know why.
Can I continue? Animals?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I did not expect to start laughing. This is so funny.
This is so funny.
Why'd you post it? No.
Why did we even start talking about this?
Why can't I post it?
Because we're going to be recording that Bad is going to look at Discord and see that and start laughing again.
Oh my gosh.
Why did this come up?
Anyway, so I like the scene where
Why did this come up?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why I came up. We're not
I really
talking
want to
about
know.
it. You'll know when we listen to the recording.
In
again.
8 years.
It's too tangentially related. That's why we have to cut it out. It's stupid.
We don't have to cut out tangentially related stuff. We have the Kimba Wawa song.
That's a separate video.
No, it's in the episode.
Oh.
It's great. There's just a minute of us singing Wawa in the middle of the episode.
I've never even heard the song.
Yeah.